Hello, everyone. My name is Bobby Kennedy Jr., and I'm here to tell you that we're going to be getting rid of the toxic food dyes as part of the MAGA agenda, thanks to President Trump. These toxic petroleum-based food dyes will be no longer in our food supply, and all of us will be the beneficiaries of a better, healthy society. Thank you for embracing the MAGA agenda to make America healthy again. Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere in between two formerly tariff nations. Hello, everybody. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025, and this is the TNAM AM Show here on the new American media, because the old American media has failed you. Yes, did you see the press release yesterday? Bobby Kennedy Jr. did it. The FDA is going to be banning toxic petroleum-based food dyes starting in 2026. Why wait? That's actually a really good question. But we'll unpack it. We'll try to figure out. We are streaming live on Facebook, which is fantastic. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, however you are watching us today. And I'm going to send this out to TNAM Preparedness. TNAM's the Agree to Disagree show, and TNAM Fake News, debunking conspiracy theories and propaganda, on our Facebook group. I'm going to say join us live. There we go. We are streaming on Rumble. Make sure you are following us on Rumble. I'll put up the places you can follow the New American Media. Just do a search for the New American Media. Instagram, Facebook, True Social, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch, Kick, DLive, and YouTube. Search the New American Media and find us there. On Telegram and Signal, we're at TNAM and TNAM Chat, TNAM and TNAM Chat. And then on X at American_Media_. And our podcast is the Agree to Disagree show that has the umbrella that includes the TNAM AM Show as part of it. Just search the Agree to Disagree show on Spotify and Apple and sign up for our podcast, would you? So yes, we're going to talk about the food dyes being banned. We're going to talk about what the heck did Kanye just say? What did he do? What's going on? And we're going to talk about all of the other things in the news. It's a bit of a grab bag today. So let's grab while the grabbing's good, shall we? If you're watching in the comments section, please hit like, please hit subscribe, and put your name in the comments and type hello or tell us where you're watching from. I love to know where people are watching us from. Yes, there's Kenneth. Kenneth is watching us from Florida, or Florida, on that Simpsons episode. Marx becomes a degenerate gambler, and I call him Gambler. Yes, but he's from Florida. And yeah, join us in the comments section with Kenneth and everyone else, and we will unpack the news together. So let's jump into it and start unpacking, shall we? See what there is to see. All right, so this is the story that is, it's an awful story, and it's sort of awful what's happening in this story. Civic Exposed here is saying BLM is casting Austin. This is the savagely murdered individual as the villain, while they're portraying Carmelo the killer as a hero, even comparing him to Rosa Parks. And it's raising questions about how narratives are shaped in heated moments. I mean, look at this graphic. You know, they always showed you St. George Floyd, and deifying some criminals. And because it's just really an anti-white bias. I don't even know why you jump to these conclusions, but BLM here is putting this out. It says Carmelo Anthony is our Rosa Parks. By the way, that whole good morning, David Bann from Ontario, Florida. No, you do your BM after coffee, not your BLM. Yeah, look, let's just hard stop this story for a second. Austin Metcalf, who was killed by Killer Carmelo, his dad went to the press conference that the very clownish people were putting on, trying to claim self-defense for Carmelo. Like, you don't, that's not going to work. That's not going to fly. That's not a thing. Oh, someone told me to move and moved my backpack, so I stabbed him. Yeah, that's when keeping it real goes wrong. It was a Dave Chappelle skit. It's actually really relevant. Maybe I should play a clip from when keeping it real goes wrong. Why is this in red? What's going on here in this description? Why is this in red? Hang on 1 second. 3183-5000. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, I do kind of want to watch. I wonder if they have it sitting here on X. Let me do a search. When keeping it real goes wrong. I haven't been able to stop thinking about this. Well, I wonder if this is a... What the heck? Yeah, I guess this might be a whole genre of videos on YouTube or on X. Keeping it real. I dare you.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh my leg.
Dude.
Call somebody, an ambulance, something.
Oh my God. There's an attempted murder. But that was the whole point of the Dave Chappelle skit. When keeping it real goes wrong.
Ciao, buddy.
Guy's trying to challenge an elk from the safety of his truck.
Right.
Clippity clap.
You want to go, bud?
You want to go, bud?
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
There goes the tire. But where is the... Here, let me do Chappelle. So I want to show you this skit. Okay, I'm not finding it here. I'm gonna search it on YouTube. When keeping it real goes wrong, Dave Chappelle. Okay, found it on YouTube. This is all I keep thinking about with this Carmelo Anthony guy. All right, I found it on this page because you don't. Yeah, touch me and find out. Yeah, you move a backpack and you get stabbed to death. Yeah, sweet move. You're in jail forever, dude. Should be facing the death penalty. All right. Where the heck? I just pulled it up. I'm having issues this morning trying to... It was YouTube. Oh, here it is. Share this tab instead. We good? We good. Okay. All right. Thanks for working with me through that, guys. I know what I want to say. I actually haven't watched this skit in a long time, and I know I'm going to get a copyright ding, so I got to keep stopping.
Real goes wrong.
But keeping it real goes wrong.
Vernon Franklin was an exceptional young man.
You know, he's got everything going for him. Maybe I should mute it for a little bit. Valedictorian of his high school class, won several scholarships, and became the first person in his family to attend college. Got a good job, worked 14-hour days, 6 days a week, quickly becoming the youngest vice president in the history of the Viacorp Corporation, ending the cycle of violence and drug addiction that had plagued his family for generations. The officers of his company were wrapping up the usual Thursday meeting in the South Conference room when Frank Murphy, the man who had mentored Vernon, made an awkward comment.
Vernon, great job, buddy. You the man. Give me some skin, huh?
Vernon got along with all of the people he worked
So this was the moment. Vernon got along with all the people he worked with, which in his heart of hearts made him feel like an Uncle Tom. Though he could have ignored the simple comment his mentor made, Vernon decided to keep it real.
real.
Get your motherfucking hand out of my face. You heard me, motherfucker. Get your hands out of my face.
Do you think this is, man? Just shake my hand like a man. All right, give me some 5 on the backhand side with all this crazy jive. It's bullshit. Want a little soft shoe? Should I jiggle some watermelons for you, boss? No, I'm not going to say that part. Get your hands off me, Frank. This ain't a game. This isn't the Vernon I know. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Hove. You never heard that before, do you? Rap music is dangerous. I used to beat MFers up. Okay, he's dropping N-bombs, so I'm not going to keep reading that. But he throws him down. I've had a hard life. You think this is a game? Wu-Tang. And so today, he no longer works that job. Where's he at?
He's filler up on Route 80 in New Jersey.
Money's filler up on Route 80 in New Jersey. He's working at a gas station.
He makes $6.45 an hour and stinks of gasoline.
There you go. $6 an hour, stinks of gasoline. But hey, you kept it real, right? As real as it can be. You know. And I think this, when keeping it real goes wrong, is an entire series, I think. On the Chappelle Show. Wu-Tang. Today, a sparkling example of when keeping it real goes wrong. That is what I see every time I see this Carmelo Anthony story. Based on the reports that I heard, they said, Killer Carmelo said, touch me and find out. It's like, please, I want to stab you. I want a reason to. And that's not really how self-defense works. You can't really provoke an altercation. You can't really go back and then grab a weapon and go into a scenario. I don't have all the details on the Killer Carmelo story. I just don't. BLM, Black Light Magic. Well, BLM could stand for a lot of stuff, but right now it's standing for craziness. It says here from BLM, Carmelo Anthony's our Rosa Parks. The point I was getting at a second ago was the father of the deceased went to the press conference of the killer, and they told him to leave. And then they tried to like besmirch the father for daring to go there. Like, yeah, you killed his boy. He wants to know what in the world you have to say for yourself other than I'm sorry. The answer you're supposed to have is I'm sorry. Have some sort of nimbus. Don't do that there every time. There, sit here, buddy. He was told to leave. And so what did he do? He left without stabbing them. That's as easy as it gets. You leave without stabbing. It's not a complicated story. And they really Nimbus. Here, come on. Oh, boy. Nimbus stepping on the control panel. No, all you had to do was leave if you were in the wrong spot. Even if you weren't in the wrong spot, you don't get to kill someone. And if they move your backpack, you don't get to kill them because of it. Like, this is not a Rosa Parks moment. Rosa Parks didn't pull out a pistol. Anyway, BLM here is saying Carmelo Anthony is our Rosa Parks. He didn't flinch and he didn't fold, and he drew the line, and he dared them to cross it. Resistance is our right. Uprising is our power, says this BLM post. I'm going to mute that. We're not here to whisper. We're not here to beg for space in a house built in our bones, on our bones. This is the new order. We don't knock. We break the door down. We don't ask. We tear the room apart. You don't get to touch us. You don't get to mute us. And if you try, we riot, we rise, we rebuild in our image. BLM. We will rise. You will rise with us or be swept away by the wreckage. Hashtag Carmelo is Rosa. This is actually getting put out right now. Black Lives Matter. We're not asking, we're taking. You're taking lives. You're promoting the killing of Austin Metcalf. We're not rising, we're rupturing. You're rupturing the heart with a knife. And look at this image. St. Carmelo the Killer and devilish Austin. Because the killer was in the wrong spot and was told to leave. Oh, so he kept it real, all right. Oh, he kept it real. When keeping it real goes wrong. Anyway, I hate this story, and it's going to be around for a while. But that's what they're saying about it, so I wanted to share it with you. Tim Pool was in the press pool yesterday. He put this out. It says, after Democrats started arresting Trump's lawyers, the gloves were off. They burned the Constitution in order to steal power, and they lost. Trump must crush the deep state betrayers, or the U.S. is lost. So, Bondi, Patel, Bongino, all caps, where the hell are the indictments on the traitors already? Starting to get a bad feeling about this Trump administration if they're not going to go after the treasonous actors. They say they're working in the shadows, but put up or shut up. All right, here's our top story. How nice is this? No more food dyes. And by the way, I did do my Bobby Kennedy impression yesterday at 2 stand-up performances. There we go, Patty K from Washington State. Thank you so much. Yes, I love seeing us coast to coast. We got Southeast Florida. Southeast Florida. We got Northeast, north of the United States, Canada. David, we got Patty K. Patty K, Baker's Man. Is that a thing? Bake me a cake as fast as you can. Wasn't that a thing? Patty K? Yeah, I love getting the check-ins. Anyone watching on Facebook, hit the thumbs up and hit the hearts button, please. Try to share our show on X if you would be so kind. RFK is A-okay with me. All right, so let's listen to what the FBI is going to be doing regarding artificial dyes. Volume would help.
Action to remove petroleum-based food dyes from the U.S. food supply and from medications. For the last 50 years, American children have increasingly been living in a toxic soup of synthetic chemicals. The scientific community has conducted a number of studies raising concerns about the correlation between petroleum-based synthetic dyes and several health conditions, such as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, obesity, diabetes, insulin resistance, cancer, genomic disruption, GI issues, as I've seen in the hospital, and allergic reactions. For example, this Lancet study conducted a randomized, double-blinded, placebo-controlled study on food dyes and concluded that artificial colors in the diet, quote, result in increased hyperactivity. So why are we taking a gamble Today, the FDA is taking action to remove petroleum-based food dyes from the U.S. food supply.
This is, oh man, I'm in all caps. I'm like yelling. This is a great first step. Now, focus on whatever the hell they keep spraying all over our damned skies. You can't go outside without seeing the crisscross patterns of all the bullshit they're dropping. Is it aluminum? Is it barium? Is it this? Is it that? I don't know, but I don't want any of it. I don't want any of it. I was out cutting the grass yesterday and shit all over in the skies. Went out today, all over in the skies. Please stop putting this stuff into our air. Please focus on that. But great job, Bobby Kennedy. Maha, make America healthy again. Great job, President Trump, bringing Bobby Kennedy into the fold. And Bobby Kennedy said something along the lines of, and I used to pray to God every day that I would be able to help America's health issues. And one day they sent me President Trump. And with his help, I will make America healthy again. That Bobby Kennedy impression is, it's tough. I think it's easier to do when I'm standing up. I literally did stand up twice yesterday. I busted out my Bobby Kennedy. I think I'm going to separate it out. I upload the video, condense it to just that intro, because I talked about Bobby Kennedy and how there's a certain type of liquor that does not have artificial dyes in it that he's maybe not going to recommend, but he's going to say at least doesn't have food dyes. But when I'm standing up, my diaphragm is I'm holding my body differently. So like when I'm sitting, it's tough. As I did the impression today twice, it's different than it is when I'm standing. So I'm going to have to work on that. But I'll try to put that out there for you guys so you can check it out. I had one guy come up and say, I was pissing my pants at your Bobby Kennedy impression. It's the funniest thing I saw all night. Funniest thing I've seen in a while. He said he did a triple take with his friend. Like, are you saying, like, watching this? So I was like, yes. It was, I think, officially the coolest thing someone said to me after a stand-up performance. And I was like, all right, I'm making people laugh. That's the point here, right? So I started an Instagram page, Brain Stand-Up, where I tell the brain story of how I became Brain. And I'll try to put that clip up there if anyone wants to follow it on Instagram. Yeah, it's just God's tic-tac-toe. Yeah, now replace God with Monsatan or Bill Gates or whoever, Mr. Burns. Release the chemtrails. Release the hounds. Anyway, great job. Thank you, Bobby Kennedy. Appreciate what you're doing. But like, please, let's move fast. Let's do more. Great first steps. I shared this yesterday. Let's just watch this. This is a Minnesota Police Department. They're ripping a far-left DA, Mary Moriarty, who declined to charge a Minnesota government employee who, this is, by the way, a Tim Walz campaign staffer, it's been reported, 33-year-old Dylan Brian Adams. Okay, that was some weird noise on the video for no reason. The Minneapolis Police Department did its job. It identified and investigated a crime trend, identified and arrested a suspect, and presented a case file to the Hennepin County Attorney Office for consideration of charges. Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara said. The case impacted at least 6 different victims and totaled over $20,000 in damages. Any frustration related to the charging decision of the Hennepin County Attorney should be directed solely at her office. Our investigators are always frustrated when the cases they poured their hearts into are declined. In my experience, the victims in these cases often feel the same. I'm going to type flee blue cities, flee blue states. I mean, this guy needs to pay the $20,000 restitution. He's guilty. Why are we not doing this? And how are you allowing a district attorney like Mary Moriarty to keep her job when she's not going to protect the public? You got one job. This person's out there 6 different vehicles. Fuck this guy. Arrest him, have him pay the restitution for it. Put it on his permanent record. You just let him walk. That's why people don't want to live in Minneapolis or Los Angeles or San Francisco or New York for that matter, because you're not taking the bad guys and throwing them in jail or penalizing them so severely to set an example so that the next people aren't doing it. Here's Eric Adams, who left the Democrat Party. I don't think he's become Republican. I think he's just sitting on the independent side of things now. But let's listen to what he has to say about 27 Tren de Aragua charged heinous crimes.
Won't have a tequila drink with a gang member. I won't be hanging out with them and hugging them, acting like they are victims. They are not victims. They create victims by their actions. A transnational criminal gang based in Venezuela that has terrorized people in their own country and here in America. When I was telling the active special agent in charge when I was in Ecuador, people were stating, we don't want to leave Ecuador, but we've been run out of Ecuador because of the gangs that are in our country. Then they came here, and you know what they saw? They saw some of the same gang members and representations as symbols of gang members. I won't have a tequila drink.
So Eric Adams is off the leash. They were trying to go after him and ruin his life because he didn't toe the party line strongly enough. So the deep state Democrats tried to take him out. He survived it looks like. Eric Adams in New York, still fighting the good fight. We'll see with him. But yeah, when you have the bad guys who are in charge and you're not addressing the problems and you're letting the dirtbags run wild, yeah, nobody wants to live in a world like that. It's not complicated to arrest the bad people. And it's actually fine to be lenient if you're going to be nonviolent as a first-time offender. It's okay to be lenient if there's, if it's not a violent crime and there's escalations. It's like, hey, maybe here's a diversion program in the beginning. And guess what? We're going to keep this 4-year conviction. If you get busted a second time, we're going to add this 4 years to what you have. We're not letting you get one over on us, but it was nonviolent. You didn't permanently ruin anybody's lives. So make restitution, make do, and, try to become a productive member of society. But guess what? If you're arrested a second time, we're adding all the charges from the first offense to the second offense, and you're going away damn near forever. So choose wisely, or, keep it real. We're not going to be told what to do. Don't you dare talk to us. Don't you dare tell us what to do. Don't you dare get in our space. Don't you get in our face. Don't you speak a word edgewise or else blah, I'll Carmelo you. That's when keeping it real goes wrong. That is very bad advice. You're not supposed to jump to those. Those are supposed to be last options. At a track meet, moving a backpack and being told, get out of this space. That's not grounds to off somebody. But yeah, these people who have fled all these crappy countries that have been overrun with gangs because they're not arresting the bad guys. What happens when President Trump's getting rid of the bad guys? They go, no, we need all these hearings and appeals for appeals for all these illegal aliens. Do we though? Well, yeah, one day we'll be accused of being an illegal alien. We're going to be accused of being an illegal alien. I could probably clear that up pretty quick. Yeah, the 3-strike rule. Well, I mean, that was actually used to kind of bludgeon Hillary Clinton in the 2016, saying that they were sort of against the don't ask, don't tell thing with Bill Clinton. And then they were also against the 3 strikes. And, there's that classic video of Joe Biden talking about just this much. I forget what drugs. Fentanyl, cocaine, heroin. If you have a nickel's worth of this, if you have just this much, you can And he's going on about how they'll throw you in jail for life. And then the side by side is Hunter smoking crack. Like, just this much crack, you're found with that, you'll be gone to jail for. And so, like, it was, I think that fell on the Clintons. Hillary Clinton, I think that was a big topic in 2016. And then, of course, when Hunter Biden came out, you know, just a complete junkie degenerate. You're going, well, isn't this what your dad was advocating you should spend the rest of your life in jail for? Why do you get away with it and the others don't? So there's that. All right, where is the next page here? I was jumping around. I had this set up. Now I have to. Oh, good. It's right here. I found it. Let me pin this. Okay, it'll be the first one here. Which means I'll bring it over. Perfect. Good. So yeah. All you have to do is arrest the bad guys and be brutal with them. I mean, civil liberties protected, no abuse. I'm not saying that. I mean, just there's no coddling, especially a repeat offender. Fool, you're so lucky to have the ability to breathe fresh air. You're gonna waive that right again by being an asshole. All right, well, you're losing your societal privileges because you're making your life a problem to everyone around you. So for the safety of everyone who might be around you, go to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. But these blue cities, these blue states are just coddling criminals, and it makes no sense. The coddling of criminality is confusing. It's a conundrum. It's calamitous. It's catastrophic. All right, so here's a conversation with Jack Posobiec about the court effort to block President Trump's deportation.
Congress and the president, we know that national security is, of course, under the president of the United States. So, Libby, tell us what you read in Alito's dissent and give us the backstory on all this.
Yeah, so the ACLU on Friday brought suit in 3 different courts to try and block the deportation of about 50 Venezuelans from a facility in Anson, Texas, which is in the northern district of Texas. They freaked out. The ACLU freaked out. They said, these people are being loaded onto planes right now. Hair on fire. They went to the Northern District Court of Texas. They filed their complaint there. They wanted this deportation stopped. They also simultaneously filed with the 5th District court in New Orleans, right, which is a federal court. And then they also filed an emergency order with the Supreme Court. So the case was open in 2 lower courts, but the Supreme Court took it up anyway, which they're not supposed to do because ultimately the Supreme Court is, you know, an appellate court. Like once you're hearing a case at the Supreme Court, it's been through a bunch of lower courts. So the Supreme Court decided that they would weigh in on this. They did that shortly after midnight on Friday night. It was a ruling where there were only 2 dissenters, and there was the opinion was unsigned, and it said that the Trump administration, the government, could not do any deportations until further order from this court, meaning the Supreme Court, which took up the case. So Alito said that he would later put out a statement. He later put out a 5-page dissent. It is very much worth reading. He criticized the court, saying that the Supreme Court did not actually have jurisdiction over this case because it was still in the 2 lower courts, right? And it hadn't gone through that process all the way. So that was one thing that he took issue with. And Alito also took issue with something that had been in the brief from the ACLU, and that was mentioned in the court's decision shortly after midnight. And that is where the ACLU said that they wanted to block the deportations of everyone who's part of this putative class. And Alito said, what class? What are you talking about? The ACLU's goal is to create to take all illegal immigrants who may be subject to the Alien Enemies Act, refer to them as a single class, and then attempt to bring national cases. Because per the Supreme Court's April 7th ruling, I believe it was April 7th, the cases cannot be brought to block deportations except in the districts where the detainees are held. And that's just a lot of running around for the ACLU, which used to protect American civil liberties and now clearly does not. That's a lot of running around for them, and they want to bring a bunch of national cases. That's my understanding of that situation. Alito doesn't like any of it. He says the court doesn't have jurisdiction, and these people are not part of a class.
Congress and the president, we know that national security is, of course, under the
Judge Alito dissenting, and it's weird. You know, I'm getting a message now from one of my buddies about a Border Patrol agent who lied and made false statements to get an American. What is it? The agent, what are they saying? The ICE agents, it wasn't them. Criminal defense. Yeah, we're trying to figure out how to deal with 99% of the people that need to be removed versus the couple of occasions where it's not accurately being handled. You don't want American citizens to be rounded up, and you need to have some sort of punitive measures. You know, like what should happen to a police officer if they're lying to get someone deported? It was an American, like, there are fringe cases and we have to deal with them. Does that mean we can't do any cases? Like, everything has to be a snail's pace? That's how Biden wins. That's how Obama wins. 30 million people in this country illegally. Great. So they just win? Because you're stuck. You can't do anything about it. By the way, yes, a Taco Supreme Court. I did have a Taco Supreme the other day. Kenneth and David asking what happened to the 3 strikes rule. David saying what states do they have it. So I put that in the comments section. I'm not sure. Can you scroll up and down the comments, you guys on the other side? Can you scroll through it, or you only see what's on the screen? 28 states have some form of 3 strikes law. And it's usually for like felonies and stuff. Yeah, you shouldn't get. Yeah, when violence becomes involved, it's a lot less likely. It's a lot less likely that you're going to have leniency. It should be that way. I want to share this one with you. This is I'm Not Having Fun Anymore. Kind of a black-pilled account, but, you know, 5 Times August has been posting a lot. Michael Ray. Please hit the thumbs up and the hearts button, Michael, to interact with the Facebook algorithm. Thanks for joining us today, Michael Ray. You know, 5 Times August here on this post has been very vocal and talking about a lot of the news of the day and the politics of the day. But right here, you're kind of getting a vibe where he's saying, you know, well, let me just read it. He says, people don't seem to understand. I want to be wrong about this administration not ever arresting anyone. I'd love to be wrong about it. Just like I would have loved being wrong about the COVID shot being poisoned. Oh, by the way, go to cisa.gov/rumor control for countervailing views, and also go to cdc.gov and who.int for countervailing views about the poison. Can't wait till all that comes out and we don't have to pretend. We don't have to lie. We don't have to couch our words. We don't have to tiptoe around for the ability to speak. 5 Times August continues, but I wasn't wrong, and it's getting clearer by the day. I won't be wrong about the no arrests either. The day that I'm wrong, I will celebrate being wrong. Until then, I will keep calling it out, as I believe everybody should. Until there are arrests, it's just the same show as before. It is what it is. Where, here, let me put this. Where are the damned indictments for treason button? So I agree. Until you start holding people accountable, What are you even going to have? What are you going to have as a nation? What are you going to have as a society? Not much. We need to get the indictments already. No doubt about it. All right. Elon here, switching over to our X feed. Let me switch. There we go. Yes. Nope. No shot for you. No shot for me either. Oh, man. Yeah, a lot of people were pressured into that stuff, and that's pretty gross, like a Harvey Weinstein thing. Hey, put this in your body, or else you won't be able to work in this town. Let me just slide this into you. Gross. All right. Hey, look, can we talk about this? We're going into the JFK files, the RFK files, the MLK files. We're trying to just tell people what's been going on. Well, here's Senator Ron Johnson talking to Benny Johnson, Johnson & Johnson show, talking about 9/11. We all saw this. We all know something's wrong. It's about damn time we discuss it openly.
What would you like to know about September 11th, the official story there, Senator?
Air quote official.
Well, start with Building 7. Again, I don't know that you can find structural engineers other than the ones that had the corrupt investigation inside NIST that would say that that thing didn't come down in any other way than a controlled demolition. I mean, you just look at that. You talk about molten steel. Again, you listen to the documentary Bravo 7. There's an awful lot of questions. You know, who ordered the removal and then destruction of all that evidence? Totally contrary to any other firefighting investigation procedures. I mean, who ordered that? Who was in charge? I think there's some basic information. Where's all the documentation from the NIST investigation? No, there are a host of questions that I want, and I will be asking, quite honestly, now that my eyes have been opened up. I've talked to former Congressman Kurt Weldon now. I will work with him to expose what he's willing to expose as well.
Wow. So we may actually see hearings about this.
I think so. And by the way, this was opened up when my ranking member now, when he was chairman of the Permanent Subcommittee Investigation, he did the investigation on the PGA and Live Golf and the PIF. Part of that is we had 9/11 families coming forward and saying, we want the FBI files unredacted. We want those made available in terms of what happened. What did the FBI know had happened? So we got engaged with that on a bipartisan basis. We want to get those answers, those documents for the families. Again, we didn't get squat from the FBI. So hopefully now with this administration, I think President Trump should have some interest being a New Yorker from himself. What actually happened in 9/11? What do we know? What is being covered up? My guess is there's an awful lot being covered up in terms of what the American government knows about 9/11.
Gross. Gross that we've gone all this time and we've just been lied to this whole time. I mean, come on. We've never felt like the story made sense. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that tower just fell down because. Really? It goes down. It's a tower. It didn't get hit by a plane. Why did it implode? I mean, there's obviously a problem. A big problem, really. But I like it. Brian Cates says the truth about 9/11 will not be for everyone. Some will not be able to handle it. Some will not be able to bring them
about September 11th, the official story.
Okay. Some will not be able to bring themselves to question the official fake narrative. The implications are simply too incredible for them to contemplate. This is how the 9/11 conspiracy to hide what they really did that day was managed to last over 24 years to this point. They count on too many people not being able to break the programming. But they didn't count on the Great Awakening. So I'm pretty excited about that. As we should all be. Yes, David, there is no reason to not arrest these criminals. And yeah, you bring up the compromised Supreme Court for sure. Now there's your taco Supreme Court right there. Ice agent. I'm going to get a copyright claim from YouTube because I hummed ice agent. All right. Luke Radowski is sharing this. I'm going to make a note. Post Rosie video. I think I have that on an old hard drive somewhere where we were set up. We were scheduled to do an interview with Rosie O'Donnell, and we went to an event, and I had the camera ready, and it's like, you know, you never know how much time you have with people, and it's like I was just ready to go. You know, grab a quick walk and talk or a chat, and we're good. And she went off on me. She hated me. I'm like, I'm not surprising you with the recording camera. Like an interview was scheduled here. Like, you know, like we're in your like we're in front of you. We're not like sneaking over your shoulder. We're not surprising you with anything. She's just a weird, angry person. Weird and angry. So here we go. She's on CNN.
Rosie, thanks so much for joining us. As you know, some people entertain the idea of moving abroad after the 2024 election. You actually did it. Tell us about your experience so far, and do you have any regrets?
I have no regrets. Not a day has gone by that I thought it was the wrong decision. I was welcomed with open arms. I knew after reading Project 2025 that if Trump got in...
Hold on, after reading what? Yeah, that wasn't a Trump plan, though. It was never on his website. That wasn't his plan. So, what?
It was time for me and my non-binary child to leave the country. And although I was not one of the celebrities who announced that that's what I would do, I made the decision within my family and my therapist. And should he win, and then when he did...
Your therapist. Oh, boy. Are we giving people good information, or are we just coddling them?
We made the plan into action, and we were gone before he was inaugurated.
You've been a longtime critic of this Trump administration and a target of President Trump, for that matter, as well. What has it been like watching the last few months unfold from abroad?
Did you just call her abroad?
It's been heartbreaking, I have to tell you. I knew that if I was in the United States and watched him destroy the country and the Constitution and really pay no mind to any of the laws that the founders stood by and that our country stands for as a beacon of shining light and freedom for the rest of the world, that should he do what the Heritage Foundation said he was going to do in that Project 2025, that we were going
Yeah, Project 2025 wasn't Trump's plan. It never was, and you know that.
to be in big trouble. And it's as bad as they promised and even a little bit worse. And it's been heartbreaking and personally very, very sad to watch.
So, oh, there's a good question. There's a really good question. Here, let me ask you the question. Let me ask you something. Do you agree or disagree with Rosie O'Donnell that it's been heartbreaking to watch President Trump for the first couple of months of his second term? Type it in the comments. Do you agree or disagree with Rosie O'Donnell that it's been heartbreaking watching President Trump's first few months of his second term? I would love to know. Kevin O'Leary talking about tariffs. Well, it's a 3.5 minute clip, so maybe I'm not going to do the whole thing, but Thomas Sowell quotes, picked this one part out and says, these tariffs are not going to be forever. Let this administration get this thing done and let's move on, because the last 20 administrations never dealt with it. So yeah, there might be some volatility. There might be some ups and downs. That's going to happen. But we're trying to recalibrate a broken system where America's been getting taken advantage of for a really long time. I, for one, am all about renegotiating everything to common sense terms, more favorable terms. Much happier to see someone that seems to actually care, because the others didn't care. They didn't care at all. By the way, the Dow Jones is up 1.5 points today, 37 or 39, almost 30, almost 40. Yeah, there will be some market fluctuation and some volatility, but it's about damn time. I don't want the status quo. If that means that giant sucking sound of all of our jobs leaving America from NAFTA and the New World Order and this globalist push and flood America with non-Americans and take jobs and move them overseas to sweatshops using slave labor. It's just, this isn't a great system here. We need to be able to produce all of the things that we need here in America. That'll make the price higher. Yeah, remember COVID when the shipping problems, when the supply chain was all broken? Remember all that? Yeah. Well, I don't want to go through that again. Learn from it. Fortify this nation, please. But yeah, question of the day, type it in. Do you agree with Rosie O'Donnell? That it's just been awful watching President Trump's first couple of months in office. I did play this for you before. Maybe a month ago. But Laura Logan here is bringing it up again. The infamous photo resurfacing with the release of the JFK files. Well, let's hear. Let's just play the video for you.
So Luke's got a question. What do you got a question?
I have a question. Are y'all familiar with the photograph called The Wink?
I'm not. This is the first I've heard of it.
Okay, well, it's a famous photo that, I've known since hearing. And I was very interested. Watched JFK when the assassination. What was the movie? Sorry. Oliver Stone, JFK.
Yeah. I'm thinking, does he mean JFK?
Yeah, but LBJ's involvement and all that. There was this photo that has kind of resurfaced since the files come out, called The Wink, nicknamed The Wink, but it's Albert Thomas, who was rep back then, was also good friends with him, and it's upon his being sworn in 3 or 4 hours after JFK's assassination on Air Force One, and he smiles back at Albert Thomas and Thomas looks back and winks at him, and this photo was caught.
So this is the photo of the wink?
That is the wink, and Jackie O is literally covered in the president's blood, her husband's blood, and he smiles. At the other angle is
that Lady Bird there next to Lyndon?
That's Lady Bird.
So, I mean, is that wink very unfortunate? He closed one eye at the exact moment that it was happening, or was he actually winking? Hey, we did it. We got JFK out of the way, it seems to say. So, Brian Cates says, hang on, which Cuomo are we on? Andrew Cuomo. There we go. So we reported yesterday that the nursing home scandal is kind of coming back on Andrew Cuomo, and they're starting to dig in and investigate. Why did you send infected people into these nursing homes to boost these numbers, to pump up the panic porn of the pandemic? Pump pandemic panic porn. Wow, that is tough to say. Pump pandemic panic porn. Precisely. So Brian Cates says he won't be the only one referred for prosecution, talking about Cuomo. This was public policy. They openly and very publicly did this, issuing official directives. They can't say they didn't do it or people misunderstood. In case you're wondering why Gretchen the Witch was in the White House last week trying to get herself a deal while pretending she was there for other things. Oh no. Indict them all. So what is this? Where is this post coming from? Uncovered. This post says, as I mentioned earlier, Cuomo was far from the only state governor who gave this kind of order to put sick people in with nursing homes to boost these numbers. Several other blue state governors also inexplicably made orders that forced COVID-infected people to be placed in nursing homes over a multitude of objections at the time. And there was no excuse for it. From left to right, Governors Andrew Cuomo of New York, Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan, Gavin Newsom, California, Tom Wolf, Pennsylvania, and Phil Murphy of New Jersey. We didn't know everything we know now about the COVID-19 virus when Cuomo, Whitner, Wolf, Newsom, and Murphy gave these fatal orders. But we knew enough. Everybody by that point knew how devastating the virus was for older adults, especially those with comorbidities, the kind of people nursing homes and elder care facilities are full of. There was no excuse for doing this, and the governors who did it cannot plead ignorance that they had no idea what would happen if COVID-positive people were placed in those nursing homes. And yet, despite very public opposition, each of these 5 governors loudly insisted following through and implementing the fatal policy. And how many of these states were the fraud states? You got Michigan, Whitmer, Pennsylvania, Wolf, and of course, New York and California are totally lost, and I guess New Jersey might be in play in the next election cycle. This, of course, in response to House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer referring Andrew Cuomo to the Department of Justice for criminal prosecution over what he did. It's about damn time. We said it's time. We are so, this is a tired refrain from us, maybe. How are you looking at oh, doggone. Let me go full screen. We said it's time. We are so tired of waiting. It's time to indict the worst monsters of the past 2 decades already. Bondi, Patel, Bongino, please release the hounds. Release the hounds. Get the indictments flowing. Elon says the best economist ever. Rothmus puts this out. Be based like Milton Friedman. 1, go to communist China. 2, ask why workers on a construction site only use shovels. 3, listen, they're answering that they do this to maximize job creation. 4, answer back to the communist official that they should use spoons instead. 5, live to tell the tale. Here's James O'Keefe, Media Group, in a video. Let's play the beginning and then give you some context.
I work in the intelligence community. I work in the CIA. I do cyber operations. I've been doing it for a long time.
I work in the intelligence agency with the CIA, a senior CIA intelligence officer with 10 years of service at the agency and a top secret sensitive compartmentalized information clearance, was caught on hidden camera. The CIA, including Gina Haspel and Mike Pompeo, deliberately withheld intelligence from the sitting president of the United States, real Donald Trump, during his first administration. And you know what? It's still happening.
How long have you been working at the CIA?
Since 2008. I've
Okay.
also worked at NSA though. And then I have a TSSCI with a full scope polygraph. That means that I'm fully vetted.
Amjad Fasisi shows her his CIA identification badge.
No, where does it say?
Does it?
Hey, that's the point.
That's the point.
What's CMC?
China Mission Center, darling. That's my mission center.
China Mission Center, darling.
Gotcha.
Amjad talks about how the CIA kept information from Trump.
Like working?
We kept information from him.
Say one more time.
We kept information from him.
From Trump?
Yes. He's an idiot. And there are certain people.
He's an idiot. We don't need the commander-in-chief to have the information. We run the government. We're the CIA, they say.
That would give him a high-level overview, but never give it any details. You know why? It's all leaked to his details.
Amjad Fasisi states the higher-ups within the intel community, including CIA directors Mike Pompeo and Gina Haspel, and the upper levels of their staffs colluded to withhold information from sitting President Trump.
So the agencies kind of like all got together and said, we're not going to tell Trump.
The higher-ups.
The higher-ups.
We put it this way, the executive staff. We're talking about the director and his subordinates.
Like what titles are they? They're
Director of the CIA.
director of the CIA would keep.
Yes.
Are you guys still watching him?
I would say yes.
Like, it sounds like you guys are still watching him and his team.
Of course we are. Nothing goes by without somebody watching.
Amjad Fasisi also
Nothing goes by without somebody watching.
states as fact that Trump is under constant surveillance and even claims they are spying on his ex-wife.
And we also have people that monitor his ex-wife.
So you guys had human sources.
How do you think we get information?
Like wiretapping? Is that what?
Steal it.
How do you think we get information? We steal it.
How did you guys figure out that Trump was colluding with the Russians?
The Russians.
You guys use
It's just human intelligence.
so the intel community was able to use FISA to spy on Trump and his team, and that's how we found out that he was colluding with the Russians. Was it the CIA or the NSA that spied on Trump?
So it could be all of them.
So you're
It could be all agencies that spied on Trump.
saying that your agency, CIA.
A lot of the agencies, again, he's not going to get reelected again. I've done the math. It's impossible.
I've done the math. It's impossible for him to get elected again. Too big to rig. You got to get the SAVE Act passed. Otherwise, our nation is toast. But yeah, California, New York, these states that don't require stringent protocols to prove that you are who you are. I mean, President Trump could have gotten 45 states if the states were actually voting properly. We did the math. It's impossible. Well, yeah, you might have tried to cheat, but the overwhelming support for President Trump pushed him over the top again for the second time. Some say the third time.
Which choice here? Do we want our democracy or do we want some fucking madman?
Do we want our democracy or some madman who wants to be dictator? Anyway, it's a 27-minute video. Go check this one out. I mean, these people. Patty saying, I don't agree. I do not agree with Rosie, even when humorous. Rosie O'Rump. Yeah, she's delusional and unself-aware. It's a problem right now. Truth Troll official here says Robert Maxwell. Let's look at Ghislaine Maxwell. Her dad, Robert Maxwell, an Israeli Mossad agent, accusation here, right? That's proven. Purchased McGraw-Hill textbooks in 1989. An agent for the Rothschilds. Pergamon Press. Robert Maxwell owned the Pergamon Press, a publishing house known for scientific and medical books and journals. Maxwell's business acumen. Maxwell was a successful business mogul known for acquiring a number of publishing companies, including Mirror Group newspapers and Berlitz International, according to Britannica. Why was an Israeli Mossad agent controlling these textbooks? By way of deception, thou shalt make war, according to Truth Troll official here. Why would they lie to us in school? And here's the people that publish the textbooks. So consider the source. Sammy Jenks, consider the source. Oh, I could have put this in the headline, but I am really getting tired of giving this person extra attention. Every time I saw her for months and months and couldn't stand her, and now she's getting more and more attention. But, you know, there is the strategy for 2025 and into 2026 midterms, into 2028 for the next presidential election. It's called Operation Let Them Talk. Paul Sipula, I don't know how to say the name, says that Jasmine Crockett had a disastrous appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Tuesday. Let's take a listen and hear what Jasmine Crockett, one of the leaders of the Democrat Party, has to say on deep state Democrat mouthpiece, formerly funny guy, Jimmy Kimmel.
I don't think that, honestly, policy is what we need to be fighting about. Because guess what?
We shouldn't be fighting about policy.
I think that, honestly, policy is what we need to be fighting about. Because guess what? Can't nobody tell you what Donald Trump's policies were at all.
Can't nobody tell you. Can't nobody. That's a double negative. So people can tell you.
Like, you ask them, like, what policies? I don't know, but he's going to bring down the cost of eggs. But last time I checked, that didn't happen.
The eggs are drastically down.
Right?
Mm-hmm. No, not right. Jimmy, no,
It'd be like, well, we're saying it's Project 2025. No, Donald's.
Why are you getting back to 2025? That's not the Donald Trump plan. His was Agenda 47, and it was on his website. Rosie O'Donnell, Jasmine Crockett are obsessed with Project 2025. They are mental patients.
Well, we're saying it's Project 2025. No, Donald said he knows nothing about that. And then what happened? All of Project 2025 started to come around. So, like, I don't even think that it's policy. I think that people are voting on vibes. I think that
People are voting on vibes. Well, when you put up in your coup by overthrowing Joe Biden in the Democrat primary. The past two, they didn't have anybody vote for Kamala Harris in the primaries. They just swapped her out, completely subverting the will of your Democrat Party. There's no democracy when the people vote and you ignore them. That's not democracy. It never has been. It's a 3-minute clip. I wonder if she gets to this point quick. I don't really want to watch 3 minutes of it, but deep state Democrat mouthpiece Jimmy, formerly funny Kimmel, hosts Jasmine Crockett, who wants to battle President Trump in a battle of IQ. Good luck with that, Jazz.
I think it's fair to say you're the most entertaining member of Congress right now, yeah?
I don't know.
Is that something that you do or intentionally because you know people will pay attention more if something is kind of funny or if it's delivered in a natural way?
I think that
Jasmine
people
Crockett
are
crap.
over politicians trying to politic. I think that they want people to
No, I can't with her. I just can't. But she calls Elon Musk an idiot. Well, maybe I doggone it. I need to show you these things.
truly represent them and the frustration and the annoyance and even some of like the comical stuff. Like
Some of the comical stuff, like Patty K saying that's DEI right there, an infiltration of ineptness. Yeah, she got all ghettoed up. Yeah, there's videos of her speaking clearly, concisely, articulately. And then this new character that she's playing is, I mean, it's playing, but obviously we'd be getting played if we went along with this. Ugh, Jasmine Crockett.
Like, look at Pete, right? Like, because we love
Like-
DUI hires, right? But, you know,
DUI hires? Is that what you said?
and even some of like the comical stuff, like look at Pete, right? Like, because we love DUI hires, right? But you know, like I mean, like I think that it's fair that like people and even
All right, I'm gonna count the number of times she says starting at 30 seconds here. Ready? How many times does she say like?
represent them and the frustration and the annoyance and even some of like the comical stuff,
1,
like
2,
look at Pete, right? Like because we
3,
love DUI hires, right? But you know, like I mean, like
4,
I think that it's fair that like people are like,
5,
yo, like
6,
this is a joke, right? No, it's not. It's like this terrible nightmare.
7.
And literally, I really do know that it is a nightmare for
7 and 20 seconds.
so many people, not just here, but across the world. I get emails
Man, this lady.
from all over this world with people that are fearful because of the lack of leadership that they're seeing right now.
Lack of leadership. You're seeing a dismantling of U.S. aid in the deep state. You're seeing an enormous slashing of unnecessary spending, which should lead to lower interest rates, which should lead to a better economy, which should lead to, well, we're taking steps to get back on track. It's more than I've ever seen any other president ever give a crap about rooting out and eliminating the wasteful spending. There is no America. 36 trillion in debt. It has to be addressed. Something has to be done. And they're actually trying to do it.
On the federal level here in the United
Lack of leadership. We're stripping the country down. We're really, I don't know
Stripping the country down.
that we'll ever know how much damage will have been done because some of the things.
Because of Barack Hussein Obama and his puppet term of Joe Biden and all of his deep state antics to impeach President Trump multiple times, to lawfare him into jail where he could be Epsteined, or to blow him away like a watermelon on stage at a Gallagher comedy performance. Man, that was a deep reference there. That was a deep cut.
Things are very much under the radar,
Yeah.
and you get to see that kind of stuff. You get to see the
What's Jimmy's haircut doing?
things that are being taken away, these things that are important to Americans that aren't. Like, I mean, we do pay attention to Pete Hegseth and we pay attention to Elon Musk and whatnot, but the little things are the things that are really are terrifying, aren't they?
Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel is 100% team deep state. Jimmy's been unwatchable for years.
No, it really is. But let me tell you something. We really don't know how much damage they're causing. Like, when I tell you that the level of incompetence is almost like incomprehensible, it is so bad. And
it is so bad. It's incomprehensible. Like, so bad. Like, you know, like.
When you bring up the idiot known as Elon Musk.
Elon Musk is an idiot. She says with her eyes down, trying to get the line out. She's been very coached on this. The idiot known as Elon Musk. I mean, you could say many things about him if you want, but an idiot?
It is so bad. And when you bring up the idiot known as Elon Musk,
an idiot.
He is not only like very sinister and has no idea what he's doing, and people are like, oh no, he absolutely knows because he's the richest man in the world. Like, yes, he knows how to hire smart people, but don't conflate that and believe that he is the genius, because he ain't.
Because he ain't.
And so he has inflicted so much.
He hires smart people, which makes him dumb. And he ain't.
Harm, and done so much that even Trump
Done so much harm? Harm how?
don't want to talk about it. When the last time you heard about Elon?
Not much. You don't see him that much.
No, we ain't
you
been
think
hearing
Trump
about him.
is distancing himself from Elon Musk?
Because as soon as people started to look
Trump don't want to talk about it. Don't want to talk about it.
at his ratings, right? Like, he continues to have these failing ratings. So now they're like, oh, get rid of Elon. But let me tell you, the stench ain't getting off of you, Trump, honey. Like, you are
Trump,
a problem. He
honey.
is a problem. Pete is a problem. All of y'all a problem.
On the other problem. Huh?
Trump, honey. Like,
Honey. Trump, honey? I don't understand this act that she's doing. I don't get it. I just don't understand the act.
Like, oh, get rid of Elon. But let me tell you, the stench ain't getting off of you, Trump, honey. Like, you are a problem. He is a problem. Pete is a problem. All of y'all a problem. So,
All of y'all a problem.
the stench ain't getting off of you, Trump, honey. Like, you are a problem. He is a problem. Pete is a problem. All of y'all a problem.
Trump, honey. All of y'all the problem.
So,
Ugh. Do you see why I didn't want to play this? I didn't want to play any of it. But it is interesting. She wants... Now, in this clip, I don't think she said she'd go head-to-head in an IQ test against Donald Trump. I don't think I... Maybe I missed it. Did she say that in this clip? Now I'm frustrated that we made the comments that we made, because if that's not in the clip... Here, let me see. Jasmine Crockett, IQ, Trump. Is there a post that just shares the short clip? Okay, this is the clip that it should have been. Let me share this tab instead.
He also called you low IQ. I'm sure you're aware of that. Would you be willing to take an IQ test publicly, head-to-head against the President of the United States?
Absolutely.
Okay, there you go. So she did say it, just not in that particular clip. Then why label it that way? Weirdos. All right. So there's one of your leaders of the Democrat Party, people. Party people. Senator Chris Van Hollen here. Switch the aspect ratio. In 2017 says, shame on President Trump for tearing apart hardworking immigrant families. We should be focused on MS-13, not scholarship winners. Benny Johnson saying, what do we have here? Oh, he's focused on MS-13. So interesting. Catturd saying that the judicial coup must end. Donald Trump posted, I'm doing what I was elected to do, remove criminals from our country. But the courts don't seem to want me to do that. My team is fantastic, doing an incredible job. However, they are being stymied at every turn by even the United States Supreme Court, which I have such great respect for, but which seemingly doesn't want me to send violent criminals and terrorists back to Venezuela or any other country for that matter. People that came here illegally. The courts are intimidated by the radical left who are playing the ref. Great Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito correctly wants to dissolve the pause on deportations. He is right on this. If we don't get these criminals out of our country, we are not going to have a country any longer. We cannot give everyone a trial because to do so would take, without exaggeration, 200 years. We would need hundreds of thousands of trials for the hundreds of thousands of illegals we are sending out of the country. Such a thing is not possible to do. What a ridiculous situation we are in. Make America great again. Journalist Cheryl Atkinson saying that she was swatted. Getting really sick of these attempted murders from the deep state left. Deep state Democrats. Hey, MJ Truth Ultra put this out here saying, what? New Mexico Judge Joel Cano resigned after ICE arrested a Tren de Aragua gang member living in his home, where the suspect was found with illegal firearms. The Department of Justice is now probing Cano's recent cases for potential bias or misuse of judicial authority, as they fear he may be influenced by his association to the gang. Yeah. Look at the recent cases. Look at all of them for bias or misuse of judicial authority. Should the judge be thrown in jail? What are you doing with your arms around a judge in flip-flops, drinking a drink? What is going on with this judge? What is going on with this whole situation? Really weird. All right. Was that all I had on tap for today? Today might be a brief show. Yeah, it might be. No, I thought I had more. No, I did have some more. Yeah, I do have some more. So I don't know why it didn't pull up. Let me scroll down. No, I definitely have more to show you. Jeez. All right. There you go. After the judge. So here's a family having a day out in the privacy of their own yard, and then this happens. I post forbidden videos, says America is turning into something else. Yeah. So fewer gangbangers, please. Here is Kash Patel, FBI director, calling for something to be done about the Federal Reserve. They're a private banking cartel. Why are they even in existence to begin with? What value do they provide? They print our money and loan it back to us at interest? Oh, thank you so much for putting me into debt. That's not a benefit. That's some bullshit. Am I being a little too harsh here?
So I think we got to educate people that the Federal Reserve is not a public government entity. It's a private entity owned by the robber barons that started this country, who manipulate the currency to their advantage. And that needs to be tackled. Again, I'm not the economic guru. I just know it's a problem. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know what the solution is, but it needs to be addressed. So I think we got to educate people.
You don't know what the solution is. Just how about listen to everybody in chat? David, again, saying, again, no arrests, nothing is going to change. So maybe change it. Patty K saying politicians are listed in IMDb. It's theater. Are they listed? Politicians have their own pages? Huh. I'm curious about that. Here's another one. Unlimited L's. A couple speaks out after getting robbed at gunpoint outside their home in Glenview, Illinois. Coming to a city near you. Be prepared.
You know how that shit. Give me everything. Drop everything. Drop everything. Drop it all the money.
You got it. You got it. Here, take it. Take it. Take everything. Take everything. Take everything. Take everything. Take everything.
The gun is pointing in our face. I started throwing shoes and coats, and my husband was like,
give them what they want, and your life is far more valuable.
Then they had us lie down on our stomachs and pointing guns at us, and I thought, oh my gosh, is this how it's going to end today? For a moment, they were standing there and they ran off.
We have got to get serious about getting these vermin out of the country, into jails. The illegals have got to be dealt with. American dirtbags need to be dealt with. Aiming guns at people, robbing them at their own homes. This is madness, people. Data Republican here, small r, a good account to follow. So let me get this straight about Bill Gates. Remember earlier today I was talking about chemtrails and stuff that they're spraying in the skies. Saying about Bill Gates, he bankrolled Common Core and he wrecked public education with zero accountability. He helped script the pandemic playbook at Event 201 with zero accountability. He funneled millions into African circumcision programs based on junk science, zero accountability. And now he wants to dim the sun. This guy has done more harm than almost any criminal behind bars. How much damage does one man playing God get to cause before we say enough? Mario Knopfel. There we go. Mario Knopfel saying that the UK is planning to turn down the sun. What could possibly go wrong? The UK government is about to greenlight experiments to dim the sun. Yep, the plan is to tinker with the atmosphere, brighten some clouds. Here, sprinkle some aerosols there and bounce sunlight back into space to cool the planet. And that's what we've been talking about for a very long time. And this is where I go to countervailing views. Go to cisa.gov/rumor control, cdc.gov, and who.int listed at the bottom of the screen. We've been reporting on chemtrails for a very long time. And every time you talk about it, oh, Google doesn't, they're going to demonetize your video. You know, your content's not quite right for advertisers because we don't want people knowing what's going on. Meta, well, our independent fact checkers. No. One of the major theories on why it's happening. It's not if it's happening. Look up in the sky. Of course it's happening. Well, see, they're spraying stuff in the sky so it can reflect the light out back into the atmosphere because global warming. Could it be because of GMO seeds? Could it be because of a lot of reasons? Oh, sure. But we deserve to know why. And if you're spraying something somewhere in the sky, it goes to all of us. Putting it in the water, it's going to all of us. And we deserve to know what the hell's going on. It's solar activity that causes a majority of the planetary fluctuations. Once again, cisa.gov/rumor control, cdc.gov, who.int for countervailing views. Oh, you have a number to call if you see chemtrailing. Post the number in the chat. That's interesting. So the UK government's ARIA agency is tossing £50 million at this idea, with outdoor trials expected to kick off soon. Officials swear it's safe and reversible, and there won't be any toxic fallout. Source: The Telegraph and The Guardian. I don't want to do that. I covered this a couple days ago, but now other people are starting to get it. Greg Kelly asking, how did we miss this? Let's watch. And once again, my take on this one video was I want to see different video to see if the line of sight is being misrepresented by this angle of the video. Let's take a look at this. Is Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania.
President Trump, after he got shot in Butler, Pennsylvania,
I've seen this video 1,000 times, but I never noticed what I'm about to show you. So here he is. He's one more fist bump before he gets in the vehicle. Now, there's this individual over here in uniform. I don't know if he's Secret Service, State Police. He's got a weapon with him, a rifle. Watch what happens. On the radio there. He's pointing his weapon right inside the car. Now, why would he do that? One more time. Trump is in the car.
I mean, he does casually flop it down like he's just going to unload his magazine into the vehicle. But is it possible he's aiming to the driver's side away from the vehicle? I think that is possible.
That doesn't make any sense. So I would like to know who that is and why he did that. And I think we need the answer to that and about 15 million other questions answered about Butler, Pennsylvania.
And I think we need that question in about 15 seconds. I am so exhausted on everything moving at a snail's pace. I mean, I get you. We can't run too fast and screw things up because we don't have a case buttoned up properly. But we don't know the next time we're going to have the president, the White House, the president, the White House, Congress, both the House and the Senate. Just go. Move real fast, please. Tim Pool talking about his experience going to the White House. They talk about showing respect and dressing up in the White House. Well, Tim Pool dresses how Tim Pool dresses. Says the media in the White House press room is largely composed of an incurious group of people who do not investigate. They use each other as sources, and they say the same narrative. It feels kind of fair to say. Let's hear from Mike Benz about Seth Rich.
There you go. Disinformation kill chain. So you see how it is right here? This is in DHS in 2019. They have to astroturf their fake fucking field because this is the cybersecurity unit at DHS. So they have to contextualize their censorship operations as being cyber related somehow. So instead of just calling it First Amendment violating government censorship, they say, no, it's just borrowing from the cyber kill chain model, which just serves as an inspiration for this framework. So it's cybersecurity. It's not First Amendment violating social media censorship. No, it's just cybersecurity because your tweets are misinformation. Does this look familiar? They take the whole thing, they just grafted it.
Yeah, they torture their language and their descriptions to allow a vast overreach. It's a tale as old as time in government. It's a tale as old as time anywhere, which is why you're supposed to have protections against this type of stuff.
They took the whole fucking thing. And look what this says. Useful idiots. Us, the citizens who voted for the government.
Jeez.
That the citizens paying their fucking paychecks at DHS. Their salary comes out of our pocket. And what are we? Fucking useful idiots.
Yep.
Authentic voices. That's who they target. Real people. Now look what they say here.
I guarantee you that the New American Media and myself personally have been victim of this bullshit. 14 years, 1,800 videos. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've been targeted. Real people.
Here, okay? Notice how they dehumanize. The whole thing, they dehumanize. So they never have to say, oh, we're murdering the free speech rights of U.S. citizens. No.
So after questions about Seth Rich's death led to the creation of DHS's CISA in 2018 via the CrowdStrike Intel Laundromat. DHS then in 2019 put conspiracies about the death of Seth Rich on its disinformation kill chain which is a hit list of speech that needed to be nuked from the internet. Here's another clip. Where's the volume? Hold on. Why is there no volume?
The Democrats don't want to go to something very simple as paper ballot.
Well, there's a lot of angles to this. Almost all of them are somewhere between disturbing and extremely disturbing. I focus really on the censorship side of it and on the foreign policy side of it, because everyone knew these could be hacked.
Yeah.
The Democrats were saying that, maybe Trump had won because of vulnerabilities in the
Remember that?
voting machines, and there was this whole kill chain documentary that was done, and it was about fears that Trump would win the 2018 midterms because of how insecure the voting machines were. And then we never really saw this campaign to protect the voting machines until the mass mail-in ballot issue in March 2020, when COVID hit and the CDC said we should vote by mass mail-in ballots and be tabulated at the end. And so the parts of it that have terrified me have been this rogue network at DHS out of CISA, the Cybersecurity
and Infrastructure Security Agency. Yeah, under duress, I have to keep putting that thing, CISA.gov/rumor control. Where is that? CISA.gov. Yeah, /rumor control at the bottom of the screen there. Countervailing views they want you to have. They don't want to allow us to talk without giving you the exact opposite opinion. Although they don't do the same when they're pushing their lies. We have to do it when telling the truth.
Security Agency, which is just a censorship cell. It was set up to stop Russian hacking because of basically everyone thought there were a lot of questions about the murder of Seth Rich.
Oh, man.
That thing sort of died down when the FBI said, actually, we delegated to CrowdStrike, a third-party investigation. Of course, that's basically just a DNC intelligence firm.
CrowdStrike, the DNC intelligence firm. So don't give up on that story. If we got JFK files, we want Seth Rich files. C3 reporting Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth was set to release Benghazi documents, and then the signal operation happened to Pete. Total coincidence. Never forget, this evil woman left them to die and then lied about it. Chris Stevens, Sean Smith, Glenn Doherty, Tyrone Woods. Prison is too good for her.
The fact is, we had 4 dead Americans.
Yeah, 4 dead Americans. And remember, she was out there. She said, there was an unwatched YouTube video, and they dared say something critical of Islam, so they kind of deserved it, right? Well, she was implying that. Remember the video that I played at the beginning of this broadcast? No, not when I was doing my Bobby Kennedy impersonation. When BLM is trying to demonize the deceased and trying to canonize and trying to turn the killer Carmelo into some sort of a saint. Hillary Clinton, with that same energy, she's like, well, there was an offensive video that was out, so, there was an offensive video, so we kind of got what we were asking for. How dare we be offensive? That's what that BLM post was saying. Oh, we can't ever let someone be offensive to us. We're going to be this. We're going to be that. Never again. We're going to keep, when keeping it real goes wrong, I'll show them. If someone says something offensive, I have the right to end them. That's what the radical Islamic terrorists are pushing. That's what they've been pushing. Draw a picture of Muhammad. Oh my gosh. Christ is mocked every day, everywhere. Christians aren't killing people to do it. Because in a society where you share the space with everybody else, you kind of have to sort of get along. It's very helpful to get along. That means you can't just kill people you disagree with. But Hillary Clinton was like, well, there was an offensive YouTube video. So, of course they were going to do some murdering. Huh? And it wasn't because of a YouTube video that nobody watched. It was an op.
The fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
It makes a big difference at this point, Hillary Clinton. And it always has, because you ran cover to try to make an excuse for why those Americans were butchered. And they dragged him through the streets dead. It's just gross. Prison is too good for Hillary Clinton. Yeah, the Clintons, the Obamas, there's a group of people. There is a group of people. Let's listen to Tim Pool with his question here. Still, I'm waiting to hear back from Carolyn Leavitt. She said she's going to bring independent media into the White House. The New American Media has been doing this for a decade and a half. Still waiting for our call back. We gave you our information. When can we come and ask a question? A nice long-winded question like Tim Pool had here. Or you're just going to give it to like the top 20 conservative influencers and not let anyone else break into that party. Wow. It kind of feels like the same Apple treatment, the same Google treatment, rather. You know, authoritative sources. We can't let anyone discuss the news. Only our pre-selected people may discuss the news. Tim Pool in the room.
Yes, many of the news organizations that are represented in this room have marched in lockstep on false narratives, such as the Very Fine People hoax, the Covington smear, and now what's being called the Maryland Man hoax, where an MS-13 gang member adjudicated by 2 different judges, I believe, is just simply being referred to as a Maryland man over and over again. Now, in an effort from the White House to expand access to new companies, you've created this new media seat.
You've created this new media seat. You have? Still haven't been invited.
So I'm wondering if you can comment on, following this expansion, you've had numerous outlets disparage the companies that you've had sit here, as well as the reporters. I'm wondering if you can comment on that unprofessional behavior, as well as elaborate if there's any plans to expand access to new companies.
Sure.
Please expand access to new companies. It's not enough.
Well, we certainly welcome diverse viewpoints in this room, which is one of the reasons we have you in here, and there's many new faces in this room in comparison to the previous administrations. We want to welcome
I don't know if these are diverse new faces. You're putting in the top 50 people that we've all been subjected to in new media for the past 10 years. You're not giving new faces. You're giving, face it, Tim Pool is establishment media. He is legacy media in the realm of independent journalism. I know that's a little convoluted, but when you only give DC Drano, Laura Loomer, Tim Pool, go expand that out. 5 people, 50 people, 100 people. If only the same biggest names get the access, it's just like only giving access to ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC. You really need to do a better job of really cycling through new media. The people that have been at the very top of the food chain, they don't qualify as independent media. They don't qualify as new media because they've been the most successful new media for so long. They are the mainstream media. They have replaced the lying legacy media as the mainstream media. So what you're doing is not, Pam Bondi, Carolyn Leavitt, what you're doing is not giving new media a chance. You're giving legacy media a chance. The legacy of independent journalists who are in that upper echelon. They're mainstream media. These are the same sources that everyone's been going to for the past decade and a half. This is mainstream, not independent, not new media. New media would be like, hey, us going to the White House for the first time. That's new. I mean, Tim Pool's sitting down for interviews with President Trump. He's not new media. He's established media. He is mainstream media. Lying legacy media is fringe and cringe. The mainstream media today is the top 50, top 100 independent media sources, which are now mainstream. So you're pointing at a mainstream media outlet like Tim Pool and saying that he's new. He's not new. He is at the top of the most successful independent media outlets, which doesn't make him new media. Bring us in for the first time, that's new media. You have our number, you have our email. We were press credentialed through Secret Service 2016 Republican convention for Trump's, nomination process. We've been around, but we're not in the top 50. We're not in the top 100. We'd like to be. But if you only give a chance to the same 50 people of the mainstream media, the current mainstream media, you're misidentifying and misrepresenting what the new media component to your White House press room was supposed to be about. Tim Pool is mainstream media, not new media.
All viewpoints into this room. We welcome unbiased journalists who really care about the truth and the facts and the accuracy. And you.
Well, I mean, unbiased. I mean, everybody has a bias. It's just, do you lean toward liberty, or do you lean toward just regurgitating what the person who's giving you your paycheck is telling you to say?
Rightfully pointed out the Maryland man story, which I, from this podium, when The Atlantic published it on that very first day, I came to this podium and said, this is wrong. The press in this room have this story wrong, and we have seen more and more evidence come to the table that we have had all along. We were always right. The president was always on the right side of this issue to deport this illegal criminal from our community.
And we have a lot of people that are saying that this story is being misrepresented. Hello, pissed off cat. He's saying that dude sounds jealous. So that's me. I'm actually giving flowers to Tim Pool. How is that jealousy? Did you misrepresent what I was just saying there? I'm giving flowers and kudos to Tim Pool for becoming the media. Look at me. I am the media now, says Tim Pool. He said sit downs with President Trump. He's one of the most successful we've ever seen in independent media. What we used to call the mainstream media, I retired that term a long time ago, because there's nothing mainstream about ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox. Like these are mouthpieces. They're corporate mouthpieces pushing propaganda and lies. They are fringe, lying legacy media. They have a legacy of history because they've been there so long, but they're not mainstream. They're far from it. Pissed off cat. I'm giving Tim Pool kudos for becoming one of the top 50 media voices on earth. Good for you. But that makes you mainstream media, not new media. So Carolyn Levitt is saying, hey, we got these seats for new media. Tim Pool, give us a diatribe in the beginning of this long-winded question and then go. Well, that's a mainstream media seat. So all right, I got a question. Good. Thank you, pissed off cat. I will ask a question to the group here. Do you agree or disagree that what I said and the way I said it is showing my jealousy? Was I being jealous by giving kudos and accolades to Tim Pool? Or was I just being honest that he's mainstream media, not new media? How is Tim Pool not mainstream? He's one of the most mainstream voices in all of media. He's been one of the biggest media voices for at least a decade, right? Look at the ratings. Look at the numbers that he pulls in versus CNN, MSNBC, those rags, those garbage sites. Look at the ratings. He's absolutely mainstream. And yeah, I mean, you might disagree with me on that. And maybe we're just playing tennis over the semantics of the situation, but I don't see it any other way. Pissed off cat. I think so that's my question to the people in the chat. Do you agree with pissed off cat that I'm jealous? Do you agree or disagree that Tim Pool is not mainstream? So am I representing this in a jealous way? And is Tim Pool mainstream or not? Answer the question in comments however you feel. David saying, I didn't hear any problem with it. I think I'm being very fair. I've met the dude. He rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't particularly care for him. He also doesn't owe me anything. I'm not mad at him. I don't hold a grudge about it. It's just when you meet someone, you get a vibe, and maybe you're right about that. Maybe you're not. But usually that vibe is, it's pseudo accurate, right? And here I am praising the dude for dominating the lying legacy media, pushing them out of the way and becoming the mainstream media now. Look at me. I am the media now. I just think he is mainstream because those propaganda outlets using the Smith-Mundt Act that Obama flipped around, they're just pushing lies. They are lying legacy media so that they have been replaced by the Tim Pools of the world. Pissed Off Cat saying CNN sucks and people have tuned out. They used to have a much larger audience. Yes. You don't like Tim either, but he is independent. No, he's independent mainstream media. Okay. Then maybe that's a component. Let me, if I was having a hard time during that, during my comments section here, distinguishing between lying legacy media, mainstream media, independent media, and new media. Well, let me be clear. Michelle and I, we had a couple of different definitions of what is a woman and what is mainstream media. And I like to think that mainstream media probably refers to people getting the views, not The View, that has really low ratings. So yes, Tim is independent. We do agree. We're on the same page. Tim is independent mainstream media. Although, haven't we seen a bunch of stories about Tim Pool and his funding, where his money is coming from? There's been several stories about Tim Pool and his iffy funding mechanisms, potentially, perhaps. And you've heard it about Dave Rubin. You've heard it about, and this isn't for me to pick off any of these people in particular, because we're all kind of in the same crowd space working through independent media. But are they independent? The ones that are actually succeeding. How is Laura Loomer getting all these stories? How is she getting her funding? Dave Rubin, Tim Pool, go down the laundry list of the top 100. How many of them are truly independent versus taking money from places that are going to, maybe want you to push a particular agenda? And now we're back to the lying legacy media again. If you can't say certain things because of who's funding you, then you're lying legacy media. You're the deep state media. You're the Smith-Mundt Act media. Yeah, Tim was accused, along with several others, of taking... Actually, what was that story? Let me ask Grok. Tim Pool funding accusations. What was this story? Let me see if I can pop this up here. It wasn't a Qatari thing. Was it Russian? Yeah. By the way, anything I don't like is Russian propaganda. According to Grok, Tim Pool, a right-wing, at least they're not calling him far right. That's another phrase I don't use anymore, is far right. I don't use that phrase. By the way, Pissed Off Cat, like we ask everybody, where are you watching the show from? We got people in Washington State, people in Ontario, Canada, people in Florida. Just curious as to where people are tuning in from, if you wouldn't mind letting us know. Oh, good. Agenda 21, Truth 1, which is CIA-controlled funded media. Flynn media. Yeah, CIA-controlled? I mean, how much control do they have over Google, YouTube? How much control do they have over Instagram, Facebook, Meta? Oh, a lot. Oh, a lot, I would say. Agenda 21, Truth 1, where are you watching from today? If you could drop your state. I don't want to know what city, per se, but what region of the world are you calling from today? I know you're not calling, but... So this was, everything I don't like is Russian propaganda. Tim Pool, a right-wing political commentator and podcaster, faced accusations September 24 of receiving funding from Russian state media through a covert propaganda scheme. There's a federal indictment of Russian state-controlled RT media. And I've interviewed people from RT. I've interviewed Ben Swan. I've interviewed, I can see her with the dark hair. She was on RT. Can't think of her name. But they're saying they funneled $10 million to a Tennessee-based company, Tenant Media, producing content amplifying Russian interests, such as weakening U.S.'s opposition to Russia's war in Ukraine. Tenant Media, which hosted influencers including Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, Benny Johnson, Lauren Southern. Okay, so the network of heterodox commentators. Tenant received $10 million from Russian sources. Poole was referred to as Commentator 2, paid $100,000 per weekly episode for his podcast, The Culture War. Holy shit. $100,000 per weekly episode. Is my mathing? Is that $5.2 million a year? Anyway, Tim Pool responded that he and other commentators were deceived and that they're victims. He maintains full editorial control. Apolitical topics like spirituality and video games, denouncing Putin, called him a scumbag, denial of knowledge. Ended with a strong anti-Russian statement. Who is the girl that I interviewed on? Let's see. Let me type it in. Brian Engelman, Russia Today. Nope, nothing. United We Stand. Abby Martin. That's what it was. Abby Martin. So yeah, there's me interviewing Dan Johnson about the NDAA. There's me interviewing Ben Swan. He's worked with RT. Luke Radowski, who works with Tim Pool. So, you know, like this is exactly what I'm saying. It's the same 50 faces wherever you go. Tatiana Moroz. Oh yeah, Adam Kokesh. I just interviewed him recently. Haven't talked to him in a while, so there he is. Me talking with Immortal Technique, talking to Sean Stone, talking to Amber Lyon. There we go. Abby Martin on Vladimir Putin and more. Hey, check that out. Isn't that interesting? 10 years ago. Wow, how time flies. All right, let's get back to it. Yeah, I went off on a tangent, but there's a lot to unpack here. Pissed off cat. If independent YouTubers are beating the, well, when you say mainstream media, do you mean the lying legacy media? I don't call NBC, CBS, or ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox. I don't call those mainstream media. I call them lying legacy media. And Fox entered the chat when they fired Tucker Carlson. They tanked their own lawsuit. All you had to do in your lawsuit is say, well, our anchors believed what they were saying. They believed that the voting machines were not trustworthy. They tanked their own and then fired their number one guy. And they had Chris Matthews out there repeating the fine people hoax during the 2020 debates with Biden. I said, I'm done with Fox. After that, I'm done. They can go sit in the corner with all the other loser lying legacy media outlets. But you're saying if independent YouTubers are beating the mainstream media, you were talking about everything but the content they discuss that gets them the views. I'm talking about everything but the content they discuss that gets them the views. Well, my main point is to put Tim Pool in the new media seat. He's been at the top of the throne for 10 years. He's not new. He's not new. And some accused him with Tenant Media of not being independent. Either way, he is the media now. He is the mainstream media, mainstream independent media. So Carolyn Levitt, open the door up. Invite other people in that nobody's heard of, instead of the same 10 people, the same 100 people that everyone always hears from. Oh, look, it's Benny Johnson. Oh, look, it's DC Drano. Oh, look, it's Tim Pool. Oh, look, it's Benny Johnson. Nothing wrong with any of these people. That's not the point that I'm trying to make. The point is you have to open it up further, or else you're just talking to more of the mainstream media. Anyway, let's wrap this thing up and keep moving with the news.
And it is despicable to see the media continue to refer to this individual as someone who is just a peaceful man living his life in Maryland. This was and always has been an illegal criminal, an MS-13 gang member, and a designated foreign terrorist, and the administration maintains our position to deport these individuals from our community.
So there you go. All right. James O'Keefe says that detectives came to the home of one of his reporters today to try to intimidate me. James O'Keefe, he says. More on that soon. But nothing stops. We're releasing videos of resistance inside the Pentagon tomorrow. So that would be today. Keep your eyes peeled. Elon posts these pictures and says, these two photographs, I assume this is Kitty Hawk with Orville and Wilbur Wright from Dayton, Ohio. And I've been to Kitty Hawk. And you, sir, are no Kitty Hawk. But this thing just kind of pushed it off a hill and it coasted down a hill sort of slowly. It didn't really fly, but it was the precursor to what we're using now. And then a man on the moon, allegedly. Elon says only 66 years from first flight to landing on the moon in 1969. Only 66 years. Pissed Off Cat saying he's not the top. You mean Tim Pool? He's not the top independent media voice? Who would you say are the top 10 independent media voices? I mean, you got Alex, you got Tim Pool, you got Crowder, you got, I mean, like I said, there's 100 names of just like people that have been crushing it. And aside from those top 50 or 100, it's really hard to crush it. And you almost wonder, how have these people been allowed to crush it? Why are they monetized on Meta? Why are they monetized on YouTube? Now, Crowder is not. They've messed with his account, so he's exclusively broadcasting on Rumble these days. But yeah, you look at Daily Wire. Like, why are they allowed to do what they, how have they become successful? Why is their views, why have their distribution not been throttled? Why has their distribution not been throttled? But yeah, curious, who would you say is in your Mount Rushmore, the top 4 independent media? Pissed Off Cat, or your top 10 independent media? And anyone else chime in. Who would you say is in your top list of independent media? Anyway, Elon says it's only 66 years from the first flight, and I'll put flight in air quotes because it was really just kind of coasting, to landing on the moon. Here we are 76 years later, and we cannot yet return to the moon. We should have been on Mars by now. So let's kind of stay on top of that one. This is the FDA now endorsing treating COVID with ivermectin. Wow. Remember when I was demonetized and deleted? My company page for the New American Media deleted by Meta. My monetization options removed by YouTube and throttled significantly. After my interview with John McAfee, I saw a massive reduction. They call it being memory hold. Yeah, you can broadcast and we'll pretend like we're showing people, but it's like David Bann. He's like, it's always so hard to find your show. Even when people subscribe and ask for notifications, they don't tell you when I'm live. They don't recommend our videos in the side panel like they used to. They do everything they can to just try to make sure we can't earn a living. By the way, I'll put this up on the screen since we're all talking about earning a living. That is why we put out the collection jar. Our TNAM donation links are on Patreon at the New American Media, Venmo at Brian Engelman, Cash App $ Brian Engelman, and PayPal at Fuzz Installment, all at the bottom of the screen. You could pause it, and if you feel like buying us a cup of coffee or signing up to be a $1,000 monthly supporter, you can do that too. That's all available on Patreon. And we appreciate every one of you who has contributed over the years, because we've been completely blocked from earning a fucking income, reporting independent media, reporting journalism. We do sports shows, we do music shows, we do spiritual shows, we do finance shows, we do political shows, current event shows, we do all sorts of stuff. The lack of growth, the fact that I can literally search for my interview with Larry Elder, talking about where Larry is discussing Black society in America and the fake race war and how it's been how it's been packaged and promoted to destroy the black families and keep them perpetually unsuccessful, as opposed to Larry Elder's strategies and what he's been successful at when he ran for governor and, you know, prior to running for governor. That's just one example of many shows. I will literally type into YouTube, can't find the fucking video. It exists, but they memory hole it. You can't search it. You can't share it. Somebody somewhere thought that video was so damaging to their manipulating, mind control, propaganda bullshit to keep certain groups perpetually angered, enraged, and divisive to the point where they're burning down their own cities. They didn't want that message of like, hey, here's how you succeed. Here's how you succeed as a black family in America. That's what Larry was talking about. Larry's written books about that. Larry talks about his relationship with his father. But that episode, oh my God, they did not want at the height of BLM to have people thinking about, oh, here's how you escape less than ideal situations. And here's how you rise up and do well in society. And here's how you reject the perpetual victimhood mentality being foisted upon black society by the dirty deep state Democrat Party. Oh, they hated that video. Just like when I got my first YouTube strike 2-3 weeks ago, I did a show on U.S. aid, and they called it misinformation. Hey, YouTube. Fuck off. That's why we're doing a Rumble channel. That's why we're on X. Let me put those back on the screen at the bottom. And this is why I ask you to please follow us on other places. Pissed Off Cat, Agenda 21 Truth 1, David Bann, Kenneth, you know, some of the commenters. It looks like almost everybody, I had Michael on Facebook jumping in, but almost everybody is coming through on YouTube. Please find the New American Media on Rumble and subscribe and get the notifications there. Because YouTube already smacked us in the face a couple weeks ago and said, hold on, you're talking about U.S. aid? That's how we steal American taxpayer dollars, and we fund all the brown shirts to stage these fake riots, these fake protests, to fake these AstroTurf movements so that our paid news propagandists and the lying legacy media can push these fake narratives out there to try to destabilize and overthrow the United States in a coup. How dare you expose what Doge has found with U.S. aid and how they're funding the treasonous activities of the coup to overthrow the duly elected president of the United States multiple times, whether it's through impeachments, whether it's through lawfare, whether it's through Butler or on a golf course when you're aiming at him, or whether it's just trying to turn the public against him so that you can get your slush fund back. Fuck you. So that's why I'm just asking anyone watching. All I do we unpack the news every day. We unpack the news. We'll go through YouTube. We'll go through Instagram. And by the way, if there's any stories you want me to talk about, please type them in the comments and go, hey, Brian, did you hear this story? Hey, Brian, could you cover this story? If I don't know about it, I'll do a search on it. If I've heard about it, but it's not in my stack to talk about today, I could pull it up and go, what are you talking? Let me do a search. All right, let's unpack it. We unpack the news together. And there's a lot of stories like Schrodinger's deportee, Schrodinger's illegal alien, Kilmar, Abrego Garcia. He's received due process and he hasn't received due process. He's MS-13, but he's not MS-13. He's illegally in the country, but he's not illegally in the country. Literally every day, I keep trying to understand what this story is, and I'm being told two different stories every day on it. I don't claim to have every answer for every story, but we will unpack it together. So let's unpack this one because YouTube, oh man, Google, Instagram, Meta, Facebook. Like I said, my company pages have been deleted. My personal profile's been suspended. And all I ask every time, point to why. No answer. I'm going to escalate this up. There's no one to talk to. Nobody responds. I've been asking YouTube for weeks and weeks, and they still can't pinpoint what in the fuck did I say that means that I can't be monetized? What in the fuck did I do that means you gave me a hard strike on that channel? I appealed it instant. The appeal was instantly denied. And when they said, oh, no, you were told why. No, I did not get an email telling me what I said during the USAID video that gave me a hard strike. And no, in the appeal, it doesn't say the timestamp of, well, right here, you cited such and such, and that's misinformation. So here's this Maria Bartiromo conversation here with Ron Johnson, discussing the thing that got you kicked off social media during the pandemic, because they were lying to you intentionally while we were reporting the truth. We were reporting the most accurate, most likely scenarios. And by the way, we can couch these positions going, I'm not entirely certain, but it seems like signs are pointing toward this. Oh, you're saying that? Boom. Harmful misinformation, strike. Harmful misinformation, dangerous misinformation. Our independent third-party fact checkers have determined this to be missing context. That's all deep state control through these companies of Meta and Google. So please follow us, the New American Media, on X, Rumble, and the podcast on Spotify and whatnot. But here's Maria Bartiromo talking about what's going on now with the recommendations.
FDA is now saying that it's okay to take ivermectin if you have COVID. I mean, Senator, I remember talking with you repeatedly during COVID about your upset that they were trying to cancel you because you were talking to doctors to try to find out the right ways to treat COVID without having to get too many boosters and COVID shots. My COVID was gone in a day when I took ivermectin. And now, 3 years later, the FDA says, oh, yeah, that's fine. Take ivermectin. What?
And they made it so hard to get ivermectin. When my brother got COVID and died of double pneumonia, COVID, whatever they coded it as, he wanted ivermectin and his doctor was scared to prescribe it because they demonized it. The Bidens did. Whoever was running the Biden White House, Obama and his ilk. They demonized ivermectin, so he couldn't find it. Finally found a doctor after delays of care. This went on for a long time, days, I believe. Finally got ivermectin, but they gave him 12 milligrams instead of 60 or something like that. It's the equivalent to taking a little pinch of coffee grounds instead of several full scoops. So he got the medicine, but at the wrong tiny dosages because they were so terrified. Oh my God, I can't give horse paste. If I get busted, I'm going to lose my law license or I'm going to lose my medical license. I'm not going to be able to prescribe. I'm going to be out on the streets and destitute. Oh my God, I can't do it. They withheld care from my brother. He went to the hospital, the intensive care unit, emergency, whatever they called it. Said, all right, let's get him on ivermectin immediately. There's almost no side effects, and it's billions of doses served throughout it. Nobel Award prize winning not fungal, what is it? Viral, right? Nope. What do you mean, nope? We ordered it. Put him on it. Nope. We have a one-size-fits-all COVID protocol, and we can't do ivermectin. That's the medical industry that you've been subjected to. Nope. They refused to give him that. And then one nurse was actually nice enough to say, well, we can't prescribe it and we can't administer it. But if you do get it, here's how you put a couple droppers in a little dish. Here's how you mix up the pill into water. Here's how you can add this medicine through the trach or through the ventilation tube once he was already sedated and on life support. And man, his levels spiked up to normal real fast. And you went, oh shit, this might be it. Please let this be it. Please let's save him. Let's make him the cover story for why ivermectin needs to go everywhere to save lives and call out the people that were withholding this. Why was it withheld? Well, many reasons, but let's remember the Emergency Use Authorization Act granted blanket liability protection to the vaccine manufacturers because there were no therapeutic options to treat COVID that existed. So they were able to sell more fucking vaccines. People should have always had the ability to say, I want ivermectin, therefore give it to me without any friction, without any pushback, without any shame, without any guilt, without any bullshit. Instead, they withheld treatment over and over and over again until it was too late. Oh, but they gave him remdesivir. Remember that one? That was that's the medicine that nurses were calling run death is near. Now, is that a chicken and the egg? Like, people that get remdesivir are already so far gone that they're more likely to die anyway. So it's not causation, but maybe it's, a correlation. I don't know. Like, we can discuss and debate that. But then it was like, we're really recommending you go on a ventilation tube. And I begged my brother, we talked about it during the pandemic. I said, whatever happens, if any of us get this, do not allow them to put you on a ventilation tube. It's blowing out your lungs. That's what's killing people. Don't do it. But my brother couldn't breathe for weeks. He was tortured. Weeks. He had that machine on. He was trying to breathe. He couldn't even move it aside to take a bite of yogurt without almost expiring right there. Over and over. So he had no energy. He couldn't breathe. And he's just like, I can't do this anymore. He tapped out. He's like, I'll see you on the other side. Put me on this ventilation tube and hopefully I can emerge from this. And if not, I'll see you on the other side of this earthly experience. And I will never forget the fucking monsters that did that to him, to his family, to his wife and kid, to me, to everybody that benefited from him, a certified NRA instructor that got people competent with self-defense, a sommelier with immense talent and skill at all of that wine identification stuff that they say becoming a Somm is one of the toughest things on earth to pass. He had so much to offer, just snuffed out for a few fucking Federal Reserve notes because Fauci was running gain of function, because Wuhan, China intentionally released the lab leak, intentionally released the lab disease. Go to CISA.gov/rumor control, CDC.gov, and WHO.int for countervailing views on anything I just said. I say this under duress so they don't delete this video, which they might anyway. But I consider that to be an intentional lab release. Prove me wrong. It seems more likely that it was intentional than it was accidental. So do with that what you will. But yeah, we got kicked off social media for talking about this stuff. I will never forgive Google, Meta. Never. Never forgive Fauci, Biden, Obama. Never.
Maria, the doctors I've been dealing with and talking to for years now, they believe that probably hundreds of thousands of Americans lost their lives because they were denied early treatment. And they were denied it because the FDA sabotaged, for example, ivermectin, when they said, come on, y'all, you're not a cow, you're not a horse. This is supposedly horse medicine. No, this was a Nobel Prize-winning medicine that could have saved hundreds of thousands of lives. It did save many, many lives because you did have doctors with the courage to and the compassion to actually treat patients using it and putting at risk their medical license. But fortunately, you say, what can we do? Well, we do have reporters like yourself, like John Solomon, other people that have the courage to report the truth against the mainstream media and against the narrative. But that's the only way this is going to be solved, is we need the truth to be exposed. We need more Americans to listen to the truth, to be exposed to the truth, to pull their heads out of the sand, quite honestly, open up their eyes and understand what is happening in this country. We are going down a very dangerous path, but it's a path that is being laid out and planned by an elite group of people that want to take total control over our lives. And that's what they're doing bit by bit. They do it by increasing massive government spending, increasing the size of government, takeover of the WHO. These amendments that are coming up that are going to be voted on in 2024 on the WHO are frightening, and they really risk taking away all of our sovereignty. People have to awaken to the dangers of the moment.
Yeah. Now it says it's a parody account. Okay. That was a real interview, right? Let me do a right here. Ivermectin to treat COVID. Ivermectin placed right under remdesivir on the NIH treatment list, and they even dose ivermectin for COVID. Oh, it was totally greenlit. Doggone it all. And ivermectin, is it helpful for other things? Relatively cheap, and actually when I got it, it was very expensive. But I got it when nobody could. Had to pay $1,000 for some. Just to pay anything to try to save your brother, you know? So, yeah. Fuck. Moving on. Scott Bessent officially swears in Paul S. Atkins as the 34th chair of the Securities and Exchange Commission. And Brian Cates is saying the Fed is about to have a very bad May. We shall see. Bill Malugin reporting that the families of 2 teens who were killed by an illegal alien invader who crashed into them while drunk, high, and speeding at 100 miles an hour in Orange County in 2021 have been told by the state of California that their killer will be released from prison early in July, just 3.5 years into a 10-year sentence for killing the teens, who both burned alive. Oscar Eduardo Ortega Anguiano. All these people, 3, 4, 5, 6 names. A twice deported Mexican illegal alien invader with a lengthy rap sheet prior to killing 19-year-olds Anya Varfomov and Nikolai Orestin at the DUI crash at the 405 freeway in Seal Beach, November 21. Both were U.S. citizens. They were dating. Ortega had several felony convictions, gone to state prison, multiple convictions for driving without a license, but was still on the streets when he crashed into the teen's vehicle. Spring of 22, Ortega was convicted in OC of 2 counts, gross vehicular manslaughter, while intoxicated for killing the teens. 10 years prison for each count. Concurrently, he would only serve 10 years at the same time. That was already a weak sentence. But now they were told on Easter Sunday, they're going to early release him Jan 19. Just over 3 years into that puny sentence, leaving the victim's family shocked and outraged, given the seriousness and the crime and his prior criminal history. California Department of Corrections wouldn't confirm the release date when I reached out, saying they cannot provide information on an incarcerated person's release date or location in advance of their release. They added that incarcerated persons may earn credits for participating in rehabilitative programming, which may move parole-eligible dates to an earlier date. ICE has confirmed to Fox News they've placed a detainer on Ortega Anguiano at the California Department of Corrections and intend to take him into custody upon his release. They hope the California Department of Corrections will honor the detainer request and transfer him to their custody upon his release, which they often do. But the families fear even if he is deported, he'll just re-enter the U.S. as a godaway, as he's done twice before. Man. Oh, God. That's what you get when adults are not in charge. That's what you get when people who are trying to destroy America are in charge of America. We said it's unacceptable. No, this is not okay. Alex here with
controlled demolition of buildings.
So this is in the news, so we'll just give you a moment of this.
Senator Ron Johnson says 9/11 hearings are being planned, and they are going to look directly at the controlled demolition of Building 7, which is absolutely smoking gun. The deputy head of emergency management on record saying they blew it up. The owner saying they decided to pull the building and watch it come down, which is demolition term, destroy it. They show them do it. Local newscast.
We decided to pull it.
NPR, BBC 2 channels, CNN 2 channels, headline news and regular CNN at the time. World Trade Center 7 didn't just blow itself up.
Well, start with Building 7. Again,
anyway, I did show this clip earlier, so go watch. It's a 30-minute report here. So look, Kanye West came out. Let me scroll up to what Kanye said. Kanye West. He made a post and said, "This song is called Cousin about my cousin. My cousin that's locked in jail for life for killing a pregnant lady a few years after I told him we wouldn't look at dirty magazines together anymore. Perhaps in my self-centered mess, I felt it was my fault that I showed him those dirty magazines when he was 6, and then we acted out what we saw. My dad had Playboy magazines, but the magazines I found in the top of my mom's closet were different. My name is Ye, and I sucked my cousin's D till I was 14. So there's a conversation to be had. Jeremy London says 10 years ago, it would have been major news that Kanye sucked off his cousin for years, but now things are so weird that we're all just like, yeah, that checks out. And they move along. Zelly kind of like putting together sort of where my thoughts are at on this, says Kanye West revealed that he had a sexual experience with his male cousin as a child after being exposed to explicit material. This isn't a joke and shouldn't be treated like one. Joking about childhood trauma is exactly why so many never speak up or get the help they need. Yeah. I have a psychology degree and I know people who have been abused. And it's brutal. It's terrible. It's awful. And, you know, I'm also a comedian, so I will tell jokes. But can we have a fair, open conversation about this topic? John Cullen says, besides the Pope dying and Kanye admitting to incest and homosexuality with his cousin, what else happened? Oh, you know, just an asteroid the same size as the one that formed the Barringer crater flew by just 68,000 miles from the surface of the Earth. And we didn't see it coming. This post, DME asking, what if Kanye West lied about his cousin just to promote his single? ETS says, you like Kanye West? His early work wasn't my taste, but he really came into his own when he released a song where he talked about blowing his cousin. That's that American Psycho scene about Huey Lewis in the News. Emergent Perspective says, wait, Kanye posted what about his cousin? And it's that meme with the... Actually, where is this astronaut meme from? I'm going to ask about that. Where is the astronaut shooting the other astronaut from? Like, what is the reference? Like, where did it come from? 2015 comic titled Always, Randall Munroe of XKCD. XKCD. XKCD? XKCD. Two astronauts depicted in space, one astronaut pointing a gun at the other who's floating nearby, Earth visible in the background. Shooting astronauts positioned on the left, closer to the perspective. Comic humorously explores the idea of one astronaut killing another to keep a secret about Earth, often interpreted as a metaphor for conspiracy theories. The idea of one astronaut offing another to keep a secret about Earth, which is interpreted as a metaphor for conspiracy theories. Widely adapted. And it's been changed to, is this blank? And the shooting astronaut says, always has been. Anyway, I was just kind of curious about that. So wait, Kanye posted what about his cousin? And this astronaut's looking at Earth saying, so all the rappers are gay? The other astronaut, always has been. It's like the Diddy stuff. It's getting tough to follow. Yeah, the Pope is dead. Klaus Schwab resigned, and Kanye sucked his cousin, and it's only lunchtime. It's too much, Jerry. It's too much. 50 Cent said on Instagram, for today, man, the Knicks lost, the Pope died, and Kanye told us he sucked his cousin's D for 8 years. I'm going to bed early tomorrow. Gotta be a better day. So take that story and do with it what you will do with it. But I think we can have a conversation about pornography and what it does to rewire the brain. Billie Eilish has talked about that. Lots of people have talked about that. How early you're exposed and how early you're exposed to what. Now, kids with devices on their phones, you'll accidentally get exposed to things. It really wasn't the case a few decades ago, but it is now. Aaron Reichlin Melnick here says, which one? Border Patrol agent lied in this case. In a sworn statement by Jose Hermosillo during questioning, which was done in Spanish, Hermosillo stated he was born in Mexico, was not a U.S. citizen. He crossed the border illegally in the desert. He wanted work, and he was in the U.S. illegally. Frank Luntz says he did say he was a U.S. citizen, but they didn't believe him. An American citizen named Jose in Arizona was detained by immigration for 10 days. His family later provided officials with his birth certificate and social security card. Oh, you mean he had a chance to prove who he was and they sorted it out? Okay. But did the ICE agent lie? Occam's razor suggests that the Border Patrol agent lied. That's backed up by the fact that one claim made by the agent is provably false, that he was arrested near Nogales. That lie matters because this sworn statement claims he entered the day before, and Nogales is 70 miles south. I mean, he could have traveled 70 miles in a day. They're saying that the agents just outright lied, claiming he wasn't arrested in Nogales, admitted to entering illegally, and he didn't. So, if we're doing all the deportations, we need to be sure that we got the right people. And this one ended up really weird, and we should know why. If an ICE agent is lying about stuff, then you need to prosecute these people. I'm a long-time believer that false accusers need to face the same punishment as the person who has been falsely accused would face if they were found guilty. So, I mean, what? Deportation? El Salvadorian jail? What are we talking about here? That guy should definitely face punishment. that story from earlier about the guy that keyed 6 Teslas causing $20,000 damage. He works for the Tim Walz administration in some capacity, some sort of government official, and they just let him off. Like, no, we're good. If you can prove that there's a border agent that's lying, no, you don't let that person off. You throw the book at him and you make an example out of him. I agree with that 100%. And that concludes my prepared remarks for today. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate each and every one of you being with me here today. Let's just do a quick buzz to see if anything is trending. Pakistan, India announced firm actions against Pakistan. Oh no, I'm watching video. What am I watching? A deadly terror attack that killed 26 Hindu tourists. Carried out by Islamic terrorists from Pakistan. Oh, the religion of peace at it again. All Pakistani visas canceled. Indus Waters Treaty suspended. Wagah border crossing is shut down. What is this video? Yeah. A deadly terror attack. I don't know, eerily reminiscent. Eerily reminiscent of. Oh, I'm not showing you the screen, am I? Where is the screen? Let me share the screen. Pakistan. Yeah, I hate terrorists. I hate that shit. President Trump, deeply disturbing news out of Kashmir. The U.S. stands strong with India against terrorism. We pray for the souls of those lost and the recovery of the injured. Prime Minister Modi and the incredible people of India have our full support and deepest sympathies. Our hearts are with you all. Who would want to attack India at this moment while VP Vance is there negotiating a new trade deal? Oh, geez, it seems like where JD Vance goes, killing follows or death follows. So that's bad news. Or it's an unfair, unfortunate circumstance. Yeah, President VP Vance goes to visit the Pope, and the Pope's gone the next day. He's in Pakistan, and all this stuff happens.
Behave yourself.
Sorry, guys.
I searched Pakistan. This is Muhammad from Pakistan. Tried to a 13-year-old British Christian girl, and he tried to run for help. Anyway, yeah. Okay, enough about Pakistan. What else is trending? Let's go home and click. I am sharing this, right? Yes, you're seeing this. I don't know why this is. Whoa, that is a screaming lady. Do we want to see a screaming lady? Fine, let's see a screaming lady on our way out. Now your moment of zen.
To follow every fucking law, but that fucking faggot can leave the fucking scene without a turn signal. Give him a ticket.
Do you need an ambulance?
He doesn't have a turn signal. Give him a ticket.
Do you need to go to the...
Let him fucking get a ticket. He can do whatever he wants.
Okay.
Give him a ticket.
Okay. Can I help you with anything else?
Give him a ticket. Okay, come on.
It's not gonna happen. Anything else we can help you with tonight?
Yeah, giving him a ticket.
All right, it's not gonna happen.
What the fuck does he get to do whatever the fuck he wants for?
I just want to know, are you okay?
No, she's not.
Fucking dumbass! Why the fuck doesn't he get a ticket?
Man, I can help you talk to somebody.
He didn't use his turn signal!
Man, can I please call you an ambulance?
I want to see somebody turn that into a death metal song about he didn't use his turn signal.
Doesn't he get a ticket?
They're laughing at her.
I can help you talk to somebody.
He didn't use his turn signal!
Man, can I please call you an ambulance? Do you have any thoughts of harming yourself?
Oh my God.
Where the fuck is he?
All right then. Okay. I don't know. Now I'm just kind of scrolling through.
You never about that. No, you a bitch. No, you a bitch. Yeah, it's unopened bottle. What you gonna do? I just came from the store. It's unopened. Yeah. No, you bitch, nigga. What you want, bro? Bitch ass. Say something. Do something. Fuck out of here, nigga.
Say you're a bitch. Take that shit and keep it walking.
Yeah, this is great. It's gonna be a fun summer, people, with this Austin Metcalf thing. Anyway, you wanted me to look up another story. I did cover this the other day, but I will bounce here and just give you an update on Letitia James. Yes, pissed off cat. I told you I'll take the stories as you bring them up. You're new here. I don't recall you being a part of the show, so welcome. I consider myself to be the bartender. Pull yourself up a seat at the bar. Grab a bar stool. And let's hear what Carrie Lake is telling Newsmax about Letitia James protesting too much.
I know you want to chime in on this. It's my favorite story of the week, Letitia James. What are your thoughts?
I love that you.
They always accuse the others of what they're doing.
I love that you just say that name, and
you know
what? This is it's karma. It's karma. And what she did to President Trump was so outrageous and so horrible, to abuse the justice system this way. And now it looks like she's in actually real trouble. She was accusing President Trump of doing what she's actually done, which is falsifying records. And so it'll be interesting to watch as we see some real justice done. And I actually think she's going to look really good in orange.
I think she will too. Big Tish getting her orange jumpsuit. We will have to see if that comes to fruition. She's a powerful woman in this state somehow. Carrie Lake, good to see you. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
A dish best served cold. Go get her. What is this one? No security forces arrived at the tourist spot where the attack happened for over an hour. Home defense minister must answer to the nation. Yeah, these Islamic terror attacks, like, come on. Ugh, so sick of this. All right, any new things out of Moscow? Just checking what's trending, seeing if anything. Massive drone strike by Ukraine reportedly destroyed one of Russia's largest munitions depots. Yeah, they don't want to stop fighting. So here, let's watch the video. So let's look here. It's already on fire, okay.
Угу. Ой-ой-ой. Ой-ой-ой.
Oh, that's a photo. I want this video. Let's play this. Damn. Well, they're still fighting. They're just going to keep doing that. All right. Anything else? I don't know. I gave you some bonus time here, and now I found Michael Phelps talking about the importance of discipline. So maybe we'll just end on something inspirational as we take ourselves into the rest of the day with something inspirational to be disciplined today and successful today and happy today.
During the days where I didn't want to go.
And by the way, yesterday, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go to do stand-up. I felt like I didn't know what I want to talk about. I felt like I didn't. And I kind of feel this way every day that I do stand up, which is why it's important to me to have a reoccurring slot where I can keep doing things in a rhythm. So I don't have to think about it. It's just like, oh, it's today. I'm going to go do this thing today. And that might be different days, different clubs. But if I wasn't actually on the schedule, I probably would have talked myself out of going. And frankly, for the past 3 weeks, special guests have been booked on some of the regular days where I go do stand-up, where I do open mic. And I fought through it, and I went and maybe had one of the best stand-up performances of my life. And I had the best compliment ever. Well, so far. I hope there's a lot of them. But yeah, I did a whole RFK Jr. bit in the beginning. And when I was done, when this guy came up to me, he's like, dude, that oh my God. He's like, that was awesome. He goes, I was pissing my pants. He goes, that's the funniest. He goes, that was the funniest thing I've seen all night. And that's the funniest thing I've seen in a long time. He goes, I did a triple take with my friend. Like, are you, dude, like, holy shit. He sounds just like Bobby Kennedy. This is crazy. And I'm like, thank you. This is actually like the first day I've tried doing it out. And as I mentioned at the very top of the show, when I did a brief impersonation to discuss how Bobby Kennedy and the FDA are planning on phasing out harmful petroleum-based food dyes by 2026, and they seemingly have the support of the food industry behind them to work to make that happen. I said, yeah, today was my first day doing it. And he's like, dude, he goes, that was awesome. That was so good. Followed on my new comedy Instagram page. You can follow our new Instagram page for my comedy. I'll be putting some stuff up. It's at Brain Standup, on Instagram. So I didn't want to do it, but I did, and I had a good outcome. And I take note cards, and I don't rehearse my stuff. I just kind of go do it. I'll glance at notes and just perform it. But I did 2 shows yesterday, and at the second show, I had my note cards in one hand, didn't look at them once. So I did the whole set without glancing at where I was going in the story. I'm relatively new to this, so that was a big accomplishment for me. But yeah, when Michael Phelps here is talking about when you don't feel like doing something, how do you find the discipline to go forward? And I'm very thankful I found the discipline to go forward yesterday.
The days where I didn't want to go, or I was tired, I was sore, this, that, or the other, I still went. Because if I'm going to go to practice and I'm going to get 10%, 20%, 30% out of that day, it's better than getting 0. So I was always taking steps forward. And that's why everything worked out. I can guarantee you there was probably 100 days where I didn't want to do it.
And by the way, I sure hope we don't get a copyright flag for this generic piano thing playing behind something. I don't care about the piano. I'm trying to listen to Michael Phelps discussing discipline. Just wanted to add that.
That's why everything worked out. I can guarantee you there was probably 100 days where I didn't want to do anything. I wanted to stay in the pool or stay in my bed and not get out. But those were the days where you have to. You have to get up and do something, because I think that's really what separates the good from the great. The greats do things when they don't always want to do them.
Yeah, doing things when you don't want to do them. That's what it's all about. But I do like doing these shows, and I do want to do these shows. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I'm signing out for now. I'll be back at 5 o'clock today with Mike Barrow. We're going to do Strictly Football, episode 25, I believe. And we are going to talk about the upcoming NFL draft. We did a show, episode 24, a couple of days ago. Check it out, Strictly Football. It's on the podcast under the Unhappy Hour Sports Show on Spotify and Apple or whatever. And we're going to do like a mock draft today, so I'm looking forward to it. My Cleveland Browns draft number 2, which I'm super excited about. So tune in. We'll be back in about 2 hours. We'll be live again. All right. Be back next time tomorrow morning for TNAM AM Show. Until then, everybody out there in the chat room, I appreciate you. I love you, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Peace.